Oh, the continuing disaster that is Concord. Do you remember this? You'll be forgiven for forgetting about this. Sony certainly hasn't. But this was a $400 million failure for Sony. Really bizarre turn of events. This was out for, I think it was less than a week. And it just completely died. Completely died. They pulled the game. Refunded it. It was a really unprecedented move. It was crazy. It was crazy. And this really does tell you everything you need to know about it. Door, tactician, he, him. What is this doing in a game, man? Honestly. So bizarre. Sony even bought the company behind it as well. No, again, no idea why. Just ridiculous. So, as this article notes, Concord's $400 million failure still haunts Sony 1 year later. Sony executives make big changes after Concord disaster. Good. Gotta learn, right? Gotta congratulate companies that learn. So let's take a look. Please do hit subscribe though, guys. If you're new here, turn those bell notifications on. So 1 year ago, just 2 weeks after its release, the hero shooter known as Concord was permanently shut down. So it was a week into it being released that they then announced another week was, and then it was gone basically. So it was shut down due to abysmal sales. No one was playing it, which meant that the always online game, you couldn't play it because obviously if there was no other players, there was just no point. And as it says, a couple months later, Sony, in an attempt to cut losses, disbanded Firewalk Studios, which had developed the game over the course of 8 years. 8 years to make this. 8 years. 8 years. What are you doing? So, in the wake of the failure, PlayStation Studios CEO Herman Holst told Financial Times that the company sought to change course. He seems to have noticed a lack of supervision within the ranks, which was allowing bad games to be developed and released before they had properly been vetted. I don't want teams to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply. No shit. I'm going to say this as well, though. PlayStation Studios CEO Herman Holst. Where's the Japanese name? Right, it's a Japanese company. Alright, Sony, PlayStation. I want the Japanese sensibilities to come through. I want their take on video games to come through. Herman Holst clearly doesn't know what he's doing. So Concord was anything but cheap, including the cost of purchasing Firewalk Studios. Sony ended up losing a total of around $400 million, which is actually insane. So Herman touched on the company's strategy to increase oversight for games under development. We have since put in place much more rigorous and more frequent testing in very many different ways. The advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary that is. Yeah, basically. Because you could lose your entire livelihood. We will shut you down. Is her hand going through her cape? Fuck me, that's bad. So other Sony executives, such as Jason Connell, art director for Sucker Punch, chimed in as well and said, if we're heading towards a giant landmine, like there's another studio making exactly the same game, that's good information. Holst also said that he wants studios to concern themselves with the long-term health of their IPs. The hope seems to be that smaller games will be able to grow into large franchises, mirroring previous successes such as Uncharted. Well, what you should be focusing on is just making good games. You know, just make a good game. But what has been funny has been the statements from the previous developers, Firewalk, right? So over the past year, Firewalk developers have come out of the woodwork to basically share what they thought of all of this, which is, again, hilarious. So one developer had an interview with A Life Well Wasted podcast. Said, I felt like there was such a disconnect. And I just felt like if I could sit down with any individual that said something bad about this game and plead our case, I could convince them 100% to be on board with the game. It's just we did a terrible job of appealing to the mass of gamers, and it just didn't go too well. What are you even talking about, mate? What? So, what? You want the accolade of of the studio, but you don't really care too much about the game. What is this? What? Well, we didn't appeal to gamers. Yeah, because the game was shit, man. How on earth could you look at this and be like, yeah, this is good. She, her in bio. Like, what is this? This is mental. However, it doesn't appear any Concord developers have actually attempted any sort of public discourse with any of their critics, instead electing to stick with interviews and discussions that don't provide any real critical pushback, as always, of course. So the developers may not be entirely to blame here, though, as information regarding any remaining non-disclosure agreements is unknown, which, that's fine. Who knows? But the developers are to blame for this being an abysmal failure. So the same day that Sony took Concord offline, it also released the popular platformer game Astro Bot. And that game kind of blew up, really. I mean, 2.3 million sales. Not bad. It's a bestseller on PS5. It's pretty bloody good. Also a Game of the Year. I mean, that's a solid game. It looks very sort of Mario-esque, to be honest. I like stuff like this. It's good fun. And the thing is, it's different. Right? It's the polar opposite to Concord. So you know what people, you know, have an affinity towards versus this. I mean, this was the weirdest looking game ever. Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Like, not exactly aesthetically pleasing, is it? Look at this. Like, absolutely rancid. But so funny. So funny. It's good that they're trying to change. You know, I'm not going to lie. That's good. That's a good thing. Good. But a massive failure for Sony at the time. And they're still feeling it now. But this is a story that we see with Marvel. Right? Do you remember they were saying that they were recording, shooting all of the Daredevil series? And they were like, oh, well, actually, you know, the strikes allowed us to have a look at the dailies. And, yeah, we're not like it, so we're going to completely redo it. It's like, what? Why weren't you looking at the dailies before, Kevin? You absolute tard. Like, what are you doing, mate? Madness. Absolute madness. So, this isn't exclusive to video games. This is apparently a universal thing that companies now just do. They just don't look over things and just pour money into it like an imbecile. But there you go. There's our update on Concord and Sony, I guess. But good. I mean, this could potentially open things up in future. You know, more sort of cross-platform and things like that. Anyway, there you go. Take care. Bye-bye now.